Truck mods gone wrong. There are some things you probably shouldn't do yourself. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive. And that's right, these are truck mods gone wrong. There really are some things that you probably just shouldn't do yourself. I'm gonna tell you my embarrassing history of some of the things I've done that have gone wrong. Everything always seems to go so right in the videos, right? Well, not always. Number one, a radio. Now, I installed a radio in a friend's truck a long time ago. This was a long time ago, before YouTube or anything else. So that's why you probably haven't seen a video on it. But what I did, he had a brand new truck that he had leased and decided he wanted to put a different radio in it. So, I had done radios before in a lot of my old cars. They were pretty much just plug and play. Well, it wasn't so with this radio. You see, we went ahead and we popped out what he had in there, and then we discovered that the wiring was a little bit different. It didn't look the same. Whatever the kit was that we had was not specific to that vehicle. It was kind of a generic thing. So we kind of had to figure out how to do it. So we did. How difficult could it be? What could happen? I mean, you pop a fuse, who cares? I've done that in the past, back in the day. So we go ahead, we put the radio in, we turn it on, and it starts smoking. Actual smoke is coming out of the radio. Now, I'm not talking about you couldn't see through the car, but it was definitely smoking. So, of course, we panicked. We turned it off. We turned the car back on, and pop! I mean, you could hear it. So, apparently, whatever we had done with power, see, now I'm saying we, it's not just me anymore. Whatever we had done with the power was incorrect. It was going somewhere it shouldn't have been, and was frying something inside that radio. It never did work. So we pulled it back out. I think he did end up taking it back. We put the OEM in, and it seemed to be okay. Now, I will say he actually had that truck repossessed not too long after that because he couldn't make the payments. That's a whole nother story. But who knows what the people that got that truck had problems with down the road. Hopefully nothing. I don't know. Next up, hood struts. Now, this is something I had done more recently on this truck. Now, I will say, first of all, I did not do anything wrong. There was no major catastrophe. But the possibility of it is so strong, I just have to bring it up. When you put one brand of hood struts on the Toyota Tacoma, you have to drill through the framework underneath the hood. Well, of course, right beyond that is the hood itself. Now, if you go too far, and once you get drilling, you're standing down there, you're putting pressure on it, you're pushing, because you have to push the drill, right? It gets going, pops through where you were, and then there's a little void, and you can slam right into the hood, which is not very thick, and go right through the top. I saw a video on YouTube of a guy that did this. Now, he wasn't some person that was trying to produce a sensational video. You could tell by his reaction it was not something he intended to do. He popped right through the hood on his Tacoma and had a hole on top. I don't know what he ever did to fix it. Who knows? Probably spent, I don't know, $200, $300, $400 at a body shop having that hole repaired and the whole hood repainted. Who knows? But just something that he probably shouldn't have done himself. Now, what I did to try to avoid that, I put some tape around the drill to keep it from going any further up, or at least to give me a clue that I was through where I needed to be and hopefully not go any further. It did slam a little bit when I went through, but I fortunately did not drill through the hood. Now, this next one, this isn't really a mod, but it is something that happened to me in one of my Tundras. Not the one I have now. I think it was the first Tundra I ever had. I used to keep change in that little square area, or right around the dash area, or the center console area. And I had a dime. And one day I went to pick up the dime and I dropped that dime and it actually fell right through where the gear selector is. You know, there's a little gap. It fell through there somewhere down below. Of course, I panicked. I'm like, oh no, now what? So I couldn't see it. I couldn't get to it. Back then, I wasn't that familiar with taking things apart, so I didn't really want to do that. So down the road, a few days, maybe a week or two later, I go to shift into reverse and it won't shift into reverse. It just kind of jams and I'm panicking. I know there's a dime in there somewhere, right? So I work it back and forth and finally I hear something fall and the dime apparently dislodged from wherever it was. It must have been behind the little mechanism, the shifter, pushing against something. I don't know. It fell somewhere. So later on, after I became more familiar with disassembling everything in there, I took that center console area off. I removed the little area where the dime could have fallen into, and I never could find it. I don't know if somehow it fell further down into the housing, if it was going to cause troubles later on. I do not know. I never had any trouble with it again, but who knows what might have happened in the future. And I always curse Toyota for making it in such a way that that could happen. It's my fault in the end. I mean, I dropped the dime. And how perfectly did it have to fall to go into that slot? I don't know. Should have played the lottery that day. Horrible. Next up, hood strut bolts. I will admit, on my previous Jeep Gladiator, I had the hood struts that were bolt in, right? And there's the little bracket that fits underneath. And I'm aware of this. You have to fit the bracket underneath and then you bolt in through the top bracket, kind of sandwiching the hood. So I decide I'm going to take that off for some reason. I don't remember why I took it off. Maybe thinking I would put it on the next Jeep Gladiator. I don't know. So carefully, I'm aware of this. Carefully, I'm taking the screws off. And I'll be darned if that bracket doesn't fall. It falls into the hood. So it goes down the hood, and it's similar to this right here. So it travels from about this point here, I think, on down the hood, because of course, the hood is open, right? And that part is aluminum. So I had thought briefly about sticking a magnet down there, trying to hopefully get lucky and grab that bracket, but it's aluminum, so I couldn't even do that. I did hear it rattling around a little bit in there as I moved the hood up and down, but I never did get it out. Now, I'm hoping it hasn't caused any issues down the road. There's nothing mechanical in there that it could mess up, but who knows? If you're really, really sensitive hearing-wise, it's possible you could hear that rattling around against the metal in the hood. I don't know. And there's no way to get it out that I'm aware of unless maybe you could stick something sticky down there, sticky enough that hopefully it would grab onto that bracket, or cut a hole in the bottom part of that little hood support trying to get it out underneath. It was horrible. I could not believe I did it, especially since I was aware that it could happen. Now, this last one just happened recently, and it's not really a mod gone wrong, but it was a pain. I was trying to change the battery in my key fob for the Jeep Gladiator. It went dead. At least I thought it did, work later. But anyway, I was gonna change it. What a pain that was. Should have been a simple little thing to do. You just pop the top off, take the battery out. Didn't work that way. Ended up damaging the side of it a little bit because when I popped the top, it wouldn't release. It was starting to bend. So I didn't want to put too much force on it and crack the cover itself, right? So I thought I'll just put a screwdriver further down in the gap that I've created because it popped up a little bit, twist it. Well, when you twist it, you kind of damage the plastic a little bit. What a stupid nightmare that was. Something so ignorantly simple as changing a battery in a key fob. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and kind of tell you guys about some truck mods gone wrong. Some things that I've had in other than just truck mods too, but some things that I've had happen with my trucks that I think were just asinine. Stupid things that never should have happened. Leave a comment, let me know. You ever done anything like that? You ever had a truck mod go wrong? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Robmotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. And Robmotive FST, all about my 2021 Toyota Tundra. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.